To Weather on the Go. In today's video, I will be talking about snowfall and the snowfall on two different systems. The first of which here on the GFS is showing a system moving from western Kansas through western Wisconsin, and on the back edge we can see some heavier snowfall potential from South Dakota, northern Nebraska, central and western Minnesota. There areas there could see up to 6 inches or so, maybe even 8 inches of snowfall here on the back edge of the storm. Now let's look at the snowfall projection here from the GFS model, and you can see some pretty decent snows here being shown across eastern South Dakota, northern Nebraska, central Minnesota, into northern Wisconsin, and even toward the UP of Michigan, where they could see a stripe of about 6 to 8 inches worth of snow here on the system's backside. I talked to you yesterday about the severe weather on the eastern flank of the storm. The western flank of the storm will have heavy snow and even a mixed zone here in between. Some mixed precipitation of some sleet, freezing rain. Doesn't appear to be a huge ice maker, at least at this point here on the GFS, not showing a big ice producer, but some heavier snowfall in a very narrow zone. So a little shift in the track could mean, no snow to 6 inches of snow here across South Dakota and central portions of Minnesota. We switch over here to the Canadian model, and it's showing the system moving from western Kansas and same up into Wisconsin, into western Wisconsin. A little bit more pronounced snow shield on the back end of the storm here, where you can see, more of coverage of snowfall, more widespread light to moderate snow. And in this model, it's showing snowfall projections around the same kind of thing here, about 5 to 8 inches worth of snow here. A little farther to the west with this track, though, on the Canadian, showing it from western Nebraska, central South Dakota, north central Minnesota toward the UP of Michigan, and into Canada here, where there's a good stripe of about 5 to 8 inches of snow. A little bit broader of a location of snow on this model, so it just depends on how much dry air is being fetched into the storm, but there is definitely going to be at least a narrow zone, I think, of about 6 to 8 inches of snow. That's my thoughts here on this storm system. Now let's look at the temperatures here. Go back to the GFS. You can see temperature profile for the storm on the back end. You can see mid-upper 20s. So it'll be a wetter snow on the back end from northern Nebraska, middle 20s, low to mid 20s here across South Dakota, middle 20s into central and northern Minnesota. The Canadian model, you can switch over to the temperature profile here. You can see a little colder of a solution on the Canadian, showing teens into South Dakota, mid-20s into central Minnesota, mid-20s down into Nebraska. So a little cooler, and that would mean a little more snowfall potential and also a little more widespread snow, but this is just due to the more of a pronounced Arctic air mass being fetched into the storm here on the Canadian model. Now I want to switch the model here. Let's go to the German model, and this one is showing the snowfall as well on the backside, and same thing. See western Wisconsin and portions here of Minnesota where they can see up to about 5, 6, 7 inches of snow. Like I said, 6 to 8 inches is my thoughts on this storm on the back end. Now there's another storm that is going to be on its back end here, right on its heels, and this is going to be early next week on Monday. And this storm could also produce some heavier rain and severe weather potential here in the Ohio Valley, portions of the Mid-Atlantic, back into here the Arklatex region. But there is going to be a narrow zone here as well of some snowfall, and the latest GFS is not as bullish as it was in the recent runs of snow on the northern side as it was yesterday, showing heavier snow from northern Missouri, southern Iowa, northern Illinois. But there is still, I think, a potential for a few inches of snow to fall in this zone from eastern Kansas, northern Missouri, southern Iowa, northern Illinois, and much of Michigan. So do not discount that. I think this may nudge up a little farther north here in the next few runs, just what I'm seeing. And then you switch over to the Canadian, and the Canadian model is showing a little bit more of a robust system here next week. This will be on Monday next week. In the middle of the day, around 6 to noon, there will be a snow shield on this model from northern Minnesota, much of Iowa, northern Illinois. I think the most pronounced snow and the most moderate precip rate of snow will be across, eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, into southern Michigan and southern Wisconsin, where yet again a couple to a few inches of snow are going to be possible out of this system. Now the temperature profile showing here, upper 20s, near 30, so it'll be a very wet snow. And just coming off of temperatures a few days ago, like this weekend on Saturday in the upper 60s to near 70, it's going to be very tough to get some snow accumulation, at least at first, across this area. So it might take some time for the snowfall to kind of accumulate, but just keep that in mind that slick conditions are possible. I wouldn't be surprised here as we get closer that these models change a little bit more, but I wouldn't be surprised as well if even a winter weather advisory goes into effect for some of these regions, especially for northern Missouri, south central and eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, and maybe even to southern Michigan here in the next few days as this storm kind of evolves in the next few days. So that's all I have on this storm and these two storms. So if you have any questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, I will also be looking at the severe weather side of the storm early next week here later this afternoon, as there's a potential for some stronger thunderstorms here across Arkansas, southern Illinois, southern and southeastern Missouri back into Texas. I'll be looking at that later today. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll have that video later today. Thank you.